Cowabunga dudes and dudettes, and welcome back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Thursdays. My name is Sonia, my pronouns are she, her, and welcome to the finale, part 3 of 3 of TMNT Heroclix. So, like I said, this is part 3. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2 yet, and go back and watch them, they're in the playlist for Teenage Mutant Ninja Thursdays. And if you're all caught up, welcome back, and let's get going. So, when we last left off, we had 2 wonderful Heroclix sets that came out in 2016. Gave me a great, awesome amount of characters from the 87 cartoon, and some cool Mirage, Nickelodeon, and IDW characters as well. Lots of Turtles teams, lots of cool pieces. And so we were hyped. So we got a set in the spring of 2016, a set in the fall of 2016, and then we were due for a set in February of 2017. This one called Shredder's Revenge. This one based more off of the 2012 Nickelodeon show. Despite the fact that the Nickelodeon Turtles were not actually the commons, it was the Archie Comics Turtles, but regardless. The ones on the box were the then, at the time of release, current iteration of the Turtles, and I had just gotten into that series late, but I'd gotten into it, mainly off of recommendations from the OG87 voice actors when I met them at a convention all those years ago. So yeah, we were riding high. We already had pieces showing up in the meta. We had a ton of hype. This was the 3rd set. Super cool. So let's see what it had for us. So, like I said, the Archie Comics verse. The TMNT Adventures were our common Turtles, Leonardo. This one actually having his weapons out, which may explain why the other Turtles had theirs sheathed. Raphael. The thing is, the 87 Turtles and the Archie Comics Turtles are basically the same design, but, good on WizKids for giving us drastically different sculpts to help tell them apart. Donatello. And Michelangelo, still with only one chuck out. Still got the other one tucked away back there. Guess he needs a hand for you to eat some pizza. We got the Fugitoid from the Nickelodeon incarnation. Very similar to the Mirage Comics iteration there. Our foot soldiers this time are not from a comic, actually. It's really unique. So these are some of the few figures from the 2003 4Kids series. You have the Foot Tech that were created, I believe, by Baxter Stockman. These stealthy foot soldiers, and they're the same sculpt as the other ones, but they got this cool translucent plastic. So, especially on generic, sculpt reuse is not, unheard of. So, nothing to really worry about there. Nothing to worry about in these cool, translucent, little bits of sculpt reuse. It happens all the time. I can't imagine that's going to be a thing going forward in these next 2 sets. You can tell the sarcasm, right? I think you can tell the sarcasm. So there's those. We got something I did not expect, which I thought was really cool. We got the human versions of Bebop and Rocksteady, which I would not have thought we were going to get. And again, I think these are, they're listed, I believe, as from the Archie comics, but like I said, the same design. So these could easily be your cartoon Turtles. And we got one of their running buddies. We got the Mohawk Punk, who I believe is now known as Grunt, due to his name on, character sheets that have been discovered. Big machete, big yellow mohawk in the first pilot episodes, and then never seen again, along with most of their crew. They were transported to Dimension X and presumably eaten by aliens, I think. I have no clue. We never see them again. Going back to the Nickelodeon verse, we've got Casey Jones, who, much like April, is, much younger in this universe. A little more sort of like a fusion of Casey Jones and Zach, honestly. And I really say that just because of the age. We got a Krang generic. See, that's the thing, is that Krang is, I'm sure a lot of you would know Krang as, you know, one of the big bads from the 87, you know, but in the 2012 series, the Krang were a race. The Krang were a race of aliens based off of the Utroms from the Mirage comics. I believe they were named Krang as a sort of a wink and a nod to the 87, which is a ton of love for the series as a whole in the 87 in the Nickelodeon verse. We got from IDW, we got a Purple Dragon Gang member who I was first introduced to in that 2003 4 Kids Fox series. We got, well, I guess it's time to talk about sculpt reuse. Because remember how I mentioned that, you know, the Archie Comics Turtles are the same designs as the 87 Turtles, but, you know, WizKids was really cool and gave us, like, different sculpts to really tell them apart? It stopped at the Turtles. So we've got the Archie Comics version of Rocksteady. He does have a different paint job, absolutely, but it's still the same sculpt. And, I mean, yeah, he's mechanically different, but he kind of occupies the same, you know, character space as the one from the cartoon. So that was a little bit of a letdown to have him and Bebop. Bebop was a rare. I actually didn't get Bebop. Going off on that, the Archie Comics Splinter, slightly different paint job, but again, effectively the same character. And you could say that about the Turtles too, but at least they're different sculpts. I'm more inclined to be lenient, especially in a small set like this, which is, I mean, honestly, if you look at the Turtles as a whole, they're one giant set. And this is when we started to see a lot of sculpt reuse. April O'Neil from the Archie Comics, more or less the same. Like, I can, like, bring these up, like, side by side. Like, you've got Archie and then you've got Cartoon. Archie and Cartoon. Very slight difference on that yellow. You've got, from Mirage, we got the Shredder clone, which is going to come into play later. And this one I'm less upset about the sculpt reuse because, yeah, it is the same as the Mirage Shredder. But since it is a clone of him, I'm a little more inclined to be, you know, a little more forgiving since, you know, it is a clone. So to have the sculpt reuse is kind of cute in a meta way. We have the mentor of those Super Turtles that we saw as the chase theme from the second set. We have, instead of Splinter, we have Sliver, who is a fair bit more sinister than not Orokusaki, that is Shredder, than Hamato Yoshi. I know my Turtles characters. I'm smart. I know things. Oh, I'm going to get crucified on the internet for not knowing Splinter, for forgetting Splinter's human name. We got him to kind of round out those Super Turtles. Then, we're going basically completely from here on out, we're going for the Nickelodeon cartoon. We have Mona Lisa, a character who I never actually got to the part where they go to space. So I need to finish that series at some point. They actually just announced they're doing a full box set of the Nickelodeon series from 2012, time of recording. So that's definitely something I'm going to be putting on my Christmas list. And then I'll binge it. And then I'll probably talk about it. We got Mona Lisa. We got Worm, who looks every bit as goofy and silly as his action figure. In fact, he looks like he's the same design as the Playmates action figure, which is really great. He caused a lot of problems in our play group. Guys, it's Worm. You love Worm, right? I love taunting my group here. We got Lord Dreg from, again, the Nickelodeon verse, a very cool design. And someone I'm probably going to like a lot more than the Lord Dreg from the 87 show. Oh, the anger I'm going to have when we finally get around to talking about the Red Sky seasons. And, speaking of space, we got space versions of the Nickelodeon Turtles. We have Michelangelo. They're all in their cute little spacesuits with their energy weapons. We have Michelangelo. We've got Raphael. And these are cool. They're not quite as dynamic as the IDW rare/super rare from the second set. We got Donatello, but they have some nice little lift and they feel very floaty. It is a shame that their helmets have kind of fogged up for whatever reason, so you can't see their faces quite as well as you used to be able to. And you've got Leonardo. And our chase theme this time around, remember how I said the Shredder clone was going to be important? Well, that's because the 4 imperfect Shredder clones are the chases. You've got Dr. Zoidberg himself, the Claw Shredder with his big goofy crab claws. I love this guy. I love how stupid he looks. It's amazing. And you have the Shark Shredder. Like, this guy is nuts. He's a giant naked shark humanoid with octopus tentacles. Like, how insane is this? Like, I don't fully know because these are from the Mirage, but I'm pretty sure, like, in the Foot Soldiers attempted to clone Shredder after he was killed, and something got mixed in there, and we got a bunch of weird ones. In fact, the ones I don't have, the Mini Shredder, actually showed up on, funny enough, Heroclix Worlds teams. So this, much like the first set, was kind of a meta set. And in 2017, we also got more Connexes. We got a buyable Bebop and Rocksteady, which I cannot find right now, but it's Bebop and Rocksteady on the same base. It's very cool. If I find it, I'll show it off in another... Oh, wait, here it is. I forgot where I put it. Yes, so we got this. This was a purchasable Connex. You got Bebop with his chains, Rocksteady with his gun. Cool new sculpts for these characters. Had to get them because, again, have to get every 87 character. And then, as a Battle Royale prize, we got the 2012 version of Pizza Face, who is voiced by John DiMaggio. And when I found that out, I was like, oh, I'm actually really interested, because he's like a legitimate Italian, or of Italian descent. So I'm like, I wonder what he's going to like bring to this character. And it's the most stereotypical like Italian like voice like I've ever heard. It makes me crack up that is the choice that they went with. Or that he went with. I don't know whose choice that was, but it's great. I love it. But yeah, he's got gross, like saggy, like pepperoni nipples, and he's just a living slice of pizza. And somehow he looks less disgusting than the humanoid character, or the human character from the toy line. You know which one I mean. So, we're early in 2017. And we've got another great set, a very well-received set. We've got Connexes. There's a lot of support. We're like, all right, cool. Let's keep this train rolling. Like, what else are we going to see? Are we going to see... they gave us some keywords on some of these figures. They gave us mute animals. Are we going to see Wingnut and Screwloose? Are we going to see Ray Flay? Are we going to get more characters, you know, from the 2003 Ninja Turtles? Like, what are we going to get? And, like, based on the release schedule, we were due for a set in the fall. Fall came and went. There was no set. Winter came and went. There was no set. They finally announced the fourth and final Heroclix set, TMNT Unplugged, which would be mostly based off of the video games. And when the set list came out, it was pretty obvious that it was the end. Because even if it wasn't planned, people weren't happy. If you've been paying attention, you'll know that our generic foot soldier count has been between 4 and 5 out of a 35 figure set. Very respectable. The foot soldier count in TMNT Unplugged was 10. Almost a third of the set was generic foot soldiers. 3 figures were Bebop, 3 figures were Rocksteady, all the same sculpt, all repainted. There were very few original sculpts, and the ones that were original were either the 8-bit sculpt, which I am going to show off, or they were copied 4 times. In the case of the Rock Soldiers, they used the same sculpt for the Rock Soldier, the Stone Warrior, General Trag, and Sergeant Granitor, which, if you know anything about how Sergeant Granitor is supposed to look, he does not look like a regular Rock Soldier. He's got a pointed nose, he's taller, and it was just like they just phoned in this set. It feels phoned in. I got very little of this set, so there's not a whole lot to show off. I mean, I got the Fast Forces because I've got a soft spot, obviously, for those old arcade and NES games. And these figures actually have a really cute mechanic where they all start with a quarter token on their card, almost like putting a quarter on the arcade machine to call next. And if they would get knocked out, you use up the quarter and they get to continue. So there's Leonardo in his more or less Minecraft form. These are very blocky and Minecrafty. Got Donatello. And these are all from the Fast Forces that I bought. That was the Fast Forces, and I think we did a sealed for this set. And that's about all I bought because I was just not... I couldn't believe that they phoned in this last set after the first 3 sets were so good. And like there was a little, in Michelangelo, there was a little bit of worry with the amount of sculpt reuse for the Archie Comics figures, but it's Heroclix. Sculpt reuse is expected. But this was just... there was no character selection. There was so... we didn't get... This is... spoilers. This is the last... here's Shredder. This is the last TMNT Heroclix product that was and probably will ever be released. I doubt they still have the license, because I don't think they would have sat on it for 6 years now. 5, 6 years. There is the other version of Shredder with the helmet off. Because we didn't get a Splinter from the Nickelodeon series. We didn't get an April from the Nickelodeon series. We didn't get almost any of the Mute Animals. We didn't get almost anything from the 2003 series except for like some foot soldiers. Like, there's a lot of missed opportunities here. This is what I was saying. So we have like the Rock Soldier sculpt and then General Trag. They're the same sculpt. They're just colored slightly different. And even this is technically wrong because Trag is a bigger, thicker Rockman. But yeah, I was not about to have a Granitor that looked like this. Like, absolutely not. Like, that upset me. And, like I said, pretty much every sculpt that was not the Minecraft pixel, and it wasn't the Rock Soldier, I think was all reused sculpts. Like, this is the Krang. This is the super rare Krang from the set. It's a good piece, but he's got silver pants. It's the exact same sculpt, just painted differently. And we really deserve better than that. You know, for putting our money into this, and with an IP like Turtles, it really deserved a better way to go out. It deserved to go out with a cowabunga, not with a whimper. And it was really disheartening. It pretty much turned, definitely me and a lot of other people, off the idea of TMNT Heroclix, which is well enough because, like I said, this is how they chose to go out. There were no more Connexes announced that year, no more sets announced, and we saw the writing on the wall. So we got 3 really awesome sets, and unfortunately, we got a lot of unfinished teams that we, could have played. But I try not to dwell on the negatives. I know this has been a more negative video, but, being your fangirl and a half shell, I'm very passionate about my Fab Four. And I really expected the same quality that we got in the first 3 sets. And it just wasn't there in this set. So that was kind of it. We had 3 awesome sets. We had 2 great years. And honestly, for a non-Marvel, non-DC property, I think that's the best that you can expect for Heroclix. So I am really happy with what we got. The figures obviously have not kept up with power creep. I wish that they could do legacy cards for some of these figures so I could, play them with my current Heroclix, but I'm sure we'll have some retro games where I can bust out my turtles and my villains again. But yeah, sorry to end this on a downer note, but that's kind of how it felt in 2018 to, see this kind of wet fart that they released as a 4th set. But anyway, sorry if it got a little down towards the end there. Rest assured, we will be back next week to have a lot more fun. And if you like what I've done here and what I do here, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, share this video, hit the bell and notifications so you know when I upload more videos, not just on Thursdays. Follow me on Twitter at SoniaOutNProud. And I will see you all next time on the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Thursdays. Bye!